Hello and welcome to Simon's Shed. I'm Simon and this is my shed, obviously, and it's rather sunny and lovely and warm in here at the moment. However, it has been recently quite chilly, and that's slowed my progress down a little bit because I've actually put the Bodenham Woods layout in here because it's at the stage where, although I can move it if I want to, it's at the stage where there's enough on there now that it can easily get damaged if I do move it. So I've sort of seated it in here, just over there. But yeah, that's sort of the extra motivation required to trudge to the end of the garden in the cold and come and work on it in the shed has slowed me down a little bit. That said, the plan is for the next bit to build a tunnel over one side of the layout, and the associated sort of backboards to support that, and sort of some landscaping of a hill for the tunnel to go through. So that is the plan. Let's see how we get on. Okay, so first for the backboards, I used some plywood, and this is fairly thin. I think it's 6mm plywood. And we're going to need to cut it, saw to cut it, and a coping saw I cut out a curve. I wanted to curve it up from the edges. Sandpaper to make the curve nice and smooth. Some screws to screw it on to the baseboard, and obviously a trusty drill. So that's what we need to add the backboards. Okay, next we're going to need 2 tunnel entrances. Now I've been having a go at making the scalescenes.com tunnel entrance kits. I really like these kits because you can buy them once and make as many as you need. You know, they've got quite a wide choice, and you can print out any of them in N-gauge or 00. Or even actually, because you get them as PDFs, you could actually scale it up or down to a completely custom scale if you like. You can mess about. You get a few options with each kit. So for example, obviously the tunnel entrance, you can follow a different line, or you can completely make up your own entrance shape, so you can customize them pretty well. The instructions are good. They're pretty easy to make. The tunnel entrance, the tunnel portal, is a pretty at the simple end of the scale scenes kits. I haven't tried a big building or anything really complicated yet, but all in good time. And I think it's a good balance between, on the one hand just buying something and plonking it down, or at the other end of the scale sort of carving each individual brick out of something and spending 6 months building it. So to make these scale scenes kits, you do need a few things. Obviously a printer to print it out. So this is just the first page of the tunnel portal kit. You need a couple of different thicknesses of card. You need some glue, and it's good to have a craft knife and a steel ruler. I started trying to do it with a plastic one, but it went badly wrong, so you definitely do need a steel ruler. And you need to fix the sort of print to the paper with some matte varnish, clear obviously. So yeah, this is what you do need to construct the scalescenes.com kits. Probably will try just buying an off-the-shelf building or two, and maybe some Metcalf kits or similar, just to compare them to these. But yes, so far so good. And lastly, to hide the fact that it's basically a plywood box, we will cover it. We'll build up the area with some newspaper and cover that with this which is the Woodland Scenics plaster cloth, which looks a little something like that. So, let's get started. And we are indeed going to start by adding the backboards. This is the board for the side, so it's already cut to the right length. You can see I've marked the thickness of the baseboard, and I'm just going to cut out the curve which slopes up from the front of the baseboard to the back corner. Using the coping saw here to cut out the curve, and we'll now give it a sand to make the edge nice and smooth. Once that's up, we can build the frame of the tunnel. Now, I did realise I would need to ballast underneath where the tunnel frame will go, because that'll be inaccessible once that's down, but I did that. Unfortunately, I discovered that if you let PVA dry at below 5 degrees C, it can actually dry white, and that is exactly what happened to me. So that was a bit of a disaster, which you'll see in a minute, but I managed to hide most of that. So the back and the side pieces are made, cut to size and screwed on to the baseboard. Now those are on. You can see the board at the back of the side and the side there, and I've started the frame there with 2 bits of scrap wood propping up the plywood top, and you can see a little ledge along the back. It's just stuck down with PVA holding the plywood up, and the strength test with a cup of tea on top there, the standard official way to test it. There's a scale scenes tunnel portal even. Just testing the clearances. I did have to prop it up, as you can see. On go the wing walls. I can disguise the fact that it's propped up with a little bank just up to the tunnel there. That's no problem. So yes, we can form the landscape now with scrunched up newspapers and get the basic shape of the landscape, the shape of the hill that we want. And a little bank there, just to add a bit more interest. You can see the basic shape starting to appear there. Now the long, thin, straight bit coming down is going to be a road down from the top. There's the ballasting disaster. So the basic shape is formed. Just simply scrunch up the newspaper, and now we're going to solidify it with the Woodland Scenics plaster cloth. Cut a strip off, slide it through the water, don't soak it, just run it through the water. One of the sides has got little plaster bubbles on it, so that side faces up. You put it down, overlap it, and you smooth it down so the plaster bubbles on top get smoothed down into the gaps. Quite tricky to do one-handed when you're holding the camera, but you get the idea. Pretty good to work with, sets fairly quickly, sets nice and hard. So that's that end nearly covered, and there's the road sort of curving off around into the distance, so it's hidden around the curve. Just smooth that down. So I'm going to carry on down the slope there until it's all covered. And obviously keep tweaking the shape, adjusting the newspaper as you go to make it exactly how you want it to look. On goes another piece. Once that's all covered, I think it's made a big difference to the layout. And it looks a little something like this. The backboards and the hill, I think it's added a lot to the layout. obviously look even better once it's got some colour and some grass down and some trees and so on, but that is for the future. I think that works well. Pleased with that for a first attempt at sort of building any kind of landscape. There's a little bank, and over to the right there is another hill. I'm going to put on a pub or maybe a church, depending on whether I'm feeling virtuous or sinful, I suppose. And that is all for now, so thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.